Okay, hello, I am Vanessa Rasmussen. I'm the English Department Chairperson and the coordinator of our school Poetry Out Loud competition. I'm also a member of the New Jersey Poetry Out Loud Teacher Advisory Council. I'm very happy to welcome you today to Vineland High School's annual Poetry Out Loud competition. Woo! Poetry Out Loud is a national arts education program that encourages the study of great poetry by offering educational materials and a dynamic recitation competition to high schools across the country. Participating teachers use the Poetry Out Loud toolkit to teach poetry recitation and run classroom competitions. Students select, memorize, and recite poems from an anthology of more than 700 classic and contemporary poems. Beginning at the classroom level, winners advance to the school-wide competition, which is what we're doing today, then to the regional competition, which will be held on February 13th at Stockton University. There, our school champion will compete against other school champions from high schools in Region 2 throughout Atlantic, Cape May, Cumberland, and Salem counties. The winner of the regional competition advances to the state competition. VHS has performed well at the regional finals in the past several years and advanced to the New Jersey state competition 6 times, including last year. The winner of the state competition wins a trip to the national finals in Washington, D.C., where they have a shot at winning $20,000. Since 2005, Poetry Out Loud has grown to reach more than 3 million students and 50,000 teachers from 10,000 schools in every state and U.S. territory. Today we will hear from 9 of your fellow students as they recite from memory the poems that they have selected from the Poetry Out Loud anthology. The highest score from both rounds will determine the winner. Students will be evaluated with the Poetry Out Loud rubric, which emphasizes these criteria: physical presence, voice and articulation, interpretation, evidence of understanding, accuracy, and overall performance. Our judges for today's competition are Mrs. Adelise de Jesus, Spanish teacher and author of the Kirkus Reviewed memoir, The 8th Grade Dance and Other Memories. Mr. Daniel Kuzma, social studies teacher and host of the Stockton University radio station show Kuz Control. Mrs. Jennifer Lanning, Vineland Public School English Language Arts Supervisor. She'll serve as our prompter and our tally judge. Ms. Becky Linton, AP Honors and Advanced English teacher and Tooth Fairy extraordinaire. Mrs. Noelle Patel, fantastic literacy coach and English teacher. And Mrs. Natalie Reynolds, our media specialist and host of many, many events throughout the year. She will be serving as our accuracy judge. By performing great works of literature, students can master public speaking skills, build self-confidence, and learn more about their literary heritage. I am very proud of all of our students' hard work, creativity, and insight. I wish them all the best of luck. Let's begin round 1. All right, our first reciter is Michaela Caputo.
Advice from La Llorona by Deborah A. Miranda, a found poem. Each grief has its unique side. Choose the one that appeals to you. Go gently. Your body needs energy to repair the amputation. Humor, phantom, pain. Your brain cells are soaked with salt. Connections fail unexpectedly and often. Ask for help. Accept help. Read your grief like the daily newspaper. Headlines may have information you need. Scream, drop-kick the garbage can across the street. Don't feel guilty if you have a good time. Don't act as if you haven't been hit by a Mack truck. Do things a little differently, but don't make a lot of changes. Revel in contradiction. Talk to the person who died. Give her a piece of your mind. Try to touch someone at least once a day. Approach grief with determination. Pretend the finish line doesn't keep receding. Lean into the pain. You can't outrun it.
Okay, so between each reciter, we have to allow a little bit of time for the judges to do their tallying. They're working the rubric. They're doing some math. It's a bunch. Good? Okay. All right, so our next reciter is Michaela Giuliani.
Time Does Not Bring Relief. You All Have Lied, by Edna St. Vincent Millay. Time does not bring relief. You all have lied who told me time would ease me of my pain. I miss him in the weeping of the rain. I want him at the shrinking of the tide. The old snows melt from every mountainside, and last year's leaves are smoke in every lane. But last year's bitter loving must remain heaped on my heart, and my old thoughts abide. There are 100 places where I fear to go, so with his memory they brim. And entering with relief some quiet place where never fell his foot or shone his face, I say, there is no memory of him here. And so stand stricken, so remembering him.
Just some fun facts as we're listening to waiting for the tallying. This is about how students benefit from participating in Poetry Out Loud, which is a project that several of us have put our own students through. So congratulations to you if you've been through the classroom level of this. One of the things that it guarantees you is higher academic performance. Poetry Out Loud students said the process of deeply analyzing, memorizing, and interpreting poetry challenged them and fostered skills they applied in their English language arts courses, as well as other subjects, for instance, history and even science, such as improved writing and analytical skills. So you've got that in your back pocket now. Good? Okay. Another benefit, teachers and students likened poetry study to resistance training with analyzing. Students reported that while they find poetry challenging and complex, its short form helps to build critical stamina, allowing students to take more time for deeper analysis. Okay. Our next reciter is Marley Smith.
Women Who Love Angels by Judith Ortiz Gopher. They are thin and rarely merry, living out their long lives in spacious rooms. French doors giving view to formal gardens where aromatic flowers grow in profusion. They play their pianos in the late tilting their heads at a gracious angle, as if listening to notes pitched above the human range. Age makes them translucent, each palpitation of their hearts visible at temple or neck. When they die, it's in their sleep. Their spirits shaking gently loose from a hostess too well-bred to protest.
All right, another fun fact. Participating Poetry Out Loud students were 1.7 times more likely to have four-year college or graduate school aspirations than non-participants, even after researchers controlled for other factors. That's a little tidbit for the AP Research students. Okay. Another benefit of Poetry Out Loud, as you can clearly see, Poetry Out Loud students reported having more confidence in group discussions than their peers, as measured by differences in growth over the course of a school year. So just the fact of speaking out loud in class, and I know it's stressful, I do it with my students each year, I memorize a poem too, because it is a hard thing to do. And so we work on it together, we struggle, and then we do fine. Good? Okay. All right, our next reciter is Christopher Gagnon.
Thoughtless Cruelty by Charles Lamb. There, Robert, you've killed that fly. And should you for 1,000 ages try the life you've taken to supply, you could not do it. You surely must have been devoid of thought and sense to have destroyed a thing which no way you'd annoy, you'll one day rule it. 'Twas but a fly, perhaps you'll say, that was born in April, dies in May, that does but just learn to display his wings 1 minute, and the next is vanished quite. A bird devours it in his flight, or come a cold blast in the night. There's no breath in it. The bird but seeks his proper food, and Providence, whose power endued, that fly with life when it thinks good may justly take it. But you have no excuse for it, a life by nature made so sure. Less reason is that you, for sport, should shorter make it. A fly, a little thing you rate, but Robert, do not estimate. A creature is pained by smaller great, the greatest beings can have but fibers, nerves, and flesh, and these the smallest ones possess, though their frame and structure less escape our seeing.
Another tidbit about self-confidence and social awareness. Students found that reading and listening to poetry helped them think about situations from perspectives other than their own. Poetry Out Loud participation also helped students seek emotional connections through their understanding of the world and others who inhabit it. Good. Okay, next up, Sophia Bojenko.
I Eat Breakfast to Begin the Day by Zubair Ahmed. I create time. I cannot create time. I'm frozen in place. I cannot be frozen. I'm moving but don't notice. I notice me moving. I pay attention to the small yet immense yet small movements that guide my limbs, my hair growth, my joint oils. I don't think about it. I don't feel it either. I don't have emotions right now. I see films of divine quality. I don't see any films. This black, this not black. To me I am not to me, not. I walk with this hollowness. I walk with this blooming. I'm moving outward forever. onward, eternally inward. I resign to the clocks that keep time. I surrender to the clocks that don't keep time. I'm sure about it, the color white. I'm not sure about it. What is word? Oh, the loops and unloops, destiny unfolds in my knees. I ate breakfast to begin the day.
Facts. Poetry Out Loud students were 1.5 times more likely than non-Poetry Out Loud participants to engage in community service and volunteering, even after researchers controlled for other factors. I told you that already, didn't I? I told you I'd do it, Marley. All right, next section. For poetry appreciation and engagement, poetry reveals new ways to see the world, fosters connection and empathy, and helps us reach a greater understanding of ourselves, our past, and others. Most students had limited exposure to poetry prior to Poetry Out Loud participation. Through Poetry Out Loud, students were given the opportunity to explore a wide and eclectic range of compelling poems. The study reports largely positive outcomes related to poetry appreciation and engagement. The most popular poem this year, just based on anecdotal evidence, is the poet is Robert Frost. People tend to like him, especially Fire and Ice and Nothing Gold Can Stay. Good? Okay. All right, our next reciter is Alila Folk.
No, I wasn't meant to love and be loved by Mirza Asadullah Khan Ghalib, translated by Vijay Seshadri. No, I wasn't meant to love and be loved. If I'd lived longer, I would have waited longer. Knowing you are faithless keeps me alive and hungry. Knowing you are faithful kills me with joy. Delicate are you, and your vows are delicate too, so easily do they break. You are a laconic marksman. You leave me not dead, but perpetually dying. Conflagrations that would make stones drip blood are campfires compared to my anguish. Two-headed, inescapable anguish. Love's anguish, or the anguish of time. Death would be fine if I only died once. I would have liked a solitary death, not this lavish funeral, this grave anyone can visit. You are mystical, Ghalib, and also you speak beautifully. Are you a saint or just drunk as usual?
Another benefit of reading poetry. Poetry Out Loud gave students an opportunity to grapple with their positive and negative feelings toward poetry. Through multiple modes of engagement, for example, reading, analyzing, memorizing, reciting, and listening, Poetry Out Loud gave students a wide variety of ways to connect with poems and with each other. Next, we have Paulina Tomlin.
About Standing in Kinship by Kimberly Blazier. We all have the same little bones in our foot, 26, with funny names like navicular. Together, they build something strong, our foot arch, a pyramid holding us up. The bones don't get cast when they break. We tape them, one phalange to its neighbor for support. Other things, like sorrow, work that way too, finding healing in the leaning, the closeness. Our feet have 1/4 of all the bones in our body. Maybe we should give more honor to feet and to all those tiny but blessed cogs in the world, communities, the forgotten architecture of friendship.
These are some of the ways that Poetry Out Loud can play a positive role in schools. Study findings show that participation in Poetry Out Loud can help schools become vibrant learning spaces and support students in their academic, literary, and social-emotional development. Poetry Out Loud can have a positive influence on school culture by providing more avenues for self-expression. Poetry Out Loud competitions can enhance school reputations and serve as a community builder. And like I said, we've done fairly well with Poetry Out Loud over the past, I don't know, how many years have we been doing it? I'm going to say at least 10. At least 10? At least 10, because at least 11, because the memories come up in my Facebook, and so I just saw one from 2014. Anyway, we do well. Good? Okay. Our next reciter is Shalitza de la Rosa Sanchez.
If I Had Known by Alice Moore Dunbar Nelson. If I had known 2 years ago how drear this life should be, and crowd upon itself all strangely sad, mayhap another song would burst from out my lips, overflowing with the happiness of future hopes. Mayhap another throb than that of joy have stirred my soul into its inmost depths. If I had known. If I had known 2 years ago the impotence of love, the vainness of a kiss, how barren a caress, mayhap my soul to higher things have soared, nor clung to earthly loves and tender dreams, but ever up aloft into the blue empyrean, and there to master all the world of mind, if I had known.
More about the role of Poetry Out Loud in schools. Participation in Poetry Out Loud can forge stronger connections between teachers and students. I feel like I know my students better after I listen to them recite. They have a really good sense of themselves as they're doing their poems. Poetry Out Loud permits teachers to contribute to the school outside their usual formats. It nurtures teachers' own creativity. And through their shared experience, Poetry Out Loud can bring together students who may not otherwise have formed connections. Good. Okay, our last reciter for round one is Iris Giocondo.
Dreamers by Siegfried Sassoon. Soldiers are citizens of death's gray land, drawing no dividend of time's tomorrows. They stand in the great hour. In the great hour of destiny, they stand, each with his feuds and jealousies and sorrows. Soldiers are sworn to action. They must win this flaming, fatal climax with their lives. Soldiers are dreamers. When the guns begin, they think of firelit homes and clean beds and wives. I see them in foul dugouts, gnawed by rats, and in the ruined trenches lashed with rain. Dreaming of things they did with balls and bats, and mocked by the hopeless want to regain bank holidays and picture shows and spats and going to the office in the train.
Okay, if you're coming in, come on in, have a seat. We're about to begin round 2. Okay, so the way it works is that everybody does their first poem, then we, have our little break here. Then everybody does their second poem. The scores tabulate the sum total of the scores, whichever is highest, that's our school winner. So that's the person that will go to our regional competition. Also, that is set up as a field trip. We have one bus going, so it's first come, first serve. So if anybody would like to come with us to Stockton, I will have the field trip form available shortly. Okay, let's begin round 2. So please welcome back to the stage, Michaela Caputo.
The Star by Ann Taylor and Jane Taylor. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. When the blazing sun is gone, when he nothing shines upon, then you show your little light, twinkle, twinkle, all the night. Then the traveler in the dark thanks you for your tiny spark. He could not see which way to go if you did not twinkle so. In the dark blue sky you keep, and often through my curtains peep. For you never shut your eye till the sun is in the sky. 'Tis your bright and tiny spark lights the traveler in the dark. Though I know not what you are, twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Good. Okay. Please welcome back to the stage Michaela Giuliani.
Flowers by Cynthia Zarin. This morning, I was walking upstairs from the kitchen, carrying your beautiful flowers. The flowers you brought me last night. Calla lilies and something else. I'm not sure what to call them. White flowers. Of course, you had no way of knowing it has been years since I bought white flowers. But now you have, and here they are again. I was carrying your flowers, and a coffee cup, and a soft yellow handbag, and a book of poems by a Chinese poet, in which I had just read the words, "Come or go, but don't just stand there in the doorway." As usual, I was carrying too many things. You would have laughed if you saw me. It seemed especially important not to spill the coffee, as I usually do, as I turned up the stairs into the whirl of the house as if I were walking up inside the flowers. I do not know how to hold all the beauty and sorrow in my life.
Please welcome back to the stage Marley Smith.
The Significance of Location by Patty Ann Rogers. The cat has the chance to make the sunlight beautiful, to stop it and turn it immediately into black fur and motion, to take it as shifting branch and brown feather into the back of the brain forever. The cardinal has flown the sun in red through the oak forest to the lawn. The finch has caught it in yellow and taken it among the thorns. By the spider, it has been bound tightly and tied in an 8-string knot. The sun has been intercepted in its one basic state and changed to a million varieties of green stick and tassel. It has been broken into pieces by glass rings, by mist over the river. Its heat has been given the board fence for body, the desert rock for fact. On winter hills, it has been laid down in white like a martyr. This afternoon, we could spread gold scarves clear across the field and say, in truth, sun, you are silk. Imagine the sun, totally isolated, its brightness shot in continuous streaks straight out into the black, never arrested, never once being made light. Someone should take note of how the earth has saved the sun from oblivion.
Please welcome back Christopher Gagnon.
There Are No Kings in America by Eileen Castaneda. We are not that kind of country. We are a sanctuary for the hungry, the homeless, and the huddled, held together by an idea our immigrant fathers believed in. Rendered, it meant independence. Pursued, it kindled war, ordinance, a fighting chance. 40,000 musket balls by themselves did not shape our boundaries, which we now map our days. We needed more than fire cakes, more than a pound of meat with bone and gristle, or salt fish and a gill of peas. We needed the faith and grit of people who were not yet American. To be an American is to understand the sacrifice of widows and orphans. It is to understand the heft of tent cities expecting caravans, and the weft of a child in a camp which was not meant for children, or to understand the people who sit before a judge awaiting judgment. What do we say to the natives whose land we now inhabit? What do we say to our immigrant fathers who held certain truths to be unalienable? Do we still pledge to each other our lives, our fortune, our sacred honor? There are no kings in America, only gilded men we must topple again and again.
Please welcome back Sophia Bojenko.
Women Who Love Angels by Judith Ortiz Cofer. They are thin and rarely merry, living out their long lives in spacious rooms, French doors giving view to formal gardens where aromatic flowers grow in profusion. They play their pianos in the late afternoon, tilting their heads at a gracious angle as if listening to notes pitched above the human range. Age makes them translucent, each palpitation of their hearts visible at temple or neck. When they die, it's in their sleep, their spirits shaking gently loose of a hostess too well bred to protest.
This is the hard work of judging, by the way, and I want to really appreciate my judges. If you could give them another round of applause. This is my dream team. I trust all of their opinions so much, And that's why I asked them to do it, and that's why I don't judge. So I am happy to have them here. Thank you so much. Good, okay. Please welcome back Alila Folk.
Once the World Was Perfect by Joy Harjo. Once the world was perfect, and we were happy in that world. Then we took it for granted. Discontent began a small rumble in the earthly mind. Then doubt pushed with its spiked head. We had destroyed the world we were given for inspiration, for life. Each stone of jealousy, each stone of fear, greed, envy, and hatred put out the light. There we were, right back where we had started. We were bumping into each other in the dark. And now we had no place to live since we didn't know how to live with each other. Then one of the stumbling ones took pity on another and shared a blanket. A spark of kindness made a light. The light made an opening in the darkness. Everyone worked together to make a ladder. A Wind Clan person climbed out first into the next world, and then the other clans, the children of those clans, their children and their children, all the way through time to now, into this morning light, to you.
Please welcome back Paulina Tomlin.
From the Sky by Sarah Aboud Rashid. After Lorca. When I die, bury me in the sky. No one's fighting over it. Children are playing soccer with empty bombshells. From the sky, I can see them. A grandmother is baking her Eid makrota and mamao. From the sky, I can taste them. Teens are writing love letters under an orange tree. From the sky, I can read them. Soldiers are cocking new rifles at a checkpoint. From the sky, I can hear them. Under fire, death and water are brewing in the kitchen. From the sky, I can smell them. When I die, bury me in the sky. I said for now, it is quiet. No one owns it, and no one is claiming to.
Please welcome back Shalitza de la Rosa Sanchez.
I wandered, lonely as a cloud, by William Wordsworth. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats o'er vales and hills. When all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. They stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them dance, but they outdid the waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth to me the show had brought. For oft, when on my couch I lie in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils.
I also want to thank our wonderful audience. You guys are very supportive, and you know what it takes to do this kind of work, so I really, really thank you for being, supportive and good for our reciters. Thank you. We can feel your positive energy. Okay, and our last reciter, Iris Giocondo.
The Arrow and the Song by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. I shot an arrow into the air. It fell to earth, I know not where. For so swiftly it flew, the sight could not follow in its flight. I breathed a song into the air. It fell to earth, I knew not where. For who has sight so keen and strong that it can follow the flight of song? Long, long afterward, in an oak, I found the arrow still unbroke, and the song, from beginning to end, I found again in the heart of a friend.
Okay, I'd like to invite all of our competitors to come up to the stage, please. We have our final tally. All right, so we're joking, those are all their participation trophies. Okay, let's have another round of applause for all of our competitors. They did an excellent job. Very nicely done. Okay, and so now I will announce our runner-up and then our champion. So our second place winner for this year, who will represent us, that's the word I wanted, at the regional competition in the event that the first place winner cannot do so, is Michaela Caputo. And our Poetry Out Loud winner for the second year in a row is Michaela Giuliani. Thank you all for being a great audience. I think we're close to fourth period. Are we like toward the end of third? Okay, so just hang out with us for a little bit. We're going to take some pictures and stuff like that, and then you will report to fourth period after this. Okay. Thank you so much to our judges. Thank you to any of our administrators. I can't see you, but I know you're out there, for coming. Thank you so much for being a great audience. Woo!